right, ladies and gentlemen, so we are getting ready for the benchmark and star and all of that good stuff. So we're going to do a little recap of just about everything. Well, not everything, but a lot of stuff. So first things first, when you're solving equations, when you've got parentheses like this, you're looking at distributive properties. So you're distributing -2 times 4 equals -8. Plus, then you distribute this guy out here, -2 times 3 equals -6. So that's what you've got on that side. And then you bring down everything else that you didn't use. So you bring down the 4x, bring down the negative sign, bring down the 22, or the -22. Okay, so that's your first step. And then your next step would be to take care of your x's. So we've got -6x here, so we would do plus 6x plus 6x. This zeroes out. We bring down our -22. -4x plus 6x equals +2x, and then you bring down your -8. So you've taken care of your x's. Next step would be to take care of your constants. So you would move your 22, so plus 22. Plus 22, that zeroes out. Bring down your 2x. -8 plus 22 equals 14. And then your last step would be to divide. So you would divide by whatever your coefficient is. So divide by 2, and x equals 7. And then you would check with substitution. So pause the video and do that on your paper. Check with substitution. All right, next one, same thing. Start with your distributive property. So you're distributing -4 out to what's in the parentheses. So that would give you -20x. And then distribute it out here. -4 times -8 is +32. Because a negative times a negative is a positive. And then bring down your plus 2x on this side. And on the left, bring down your -28 and bring down your -8x. So that was your first step. Take care of the distributive property. Next, take care of your variables. So we've got -20x and +2x on this side. So we can combine them first to make -18x. And then again, bring everything down. And then you can take care of your variables. So I would look at my variables here. Plus 18x, plus 18x. This zeroes out. -8 plus 18 would give you 10x. Bring down your -28. Bring down your 32. Next step would be to take care of your constants. So plus 28, plus 28. This zeroes out. You're left with 10x on the left. And then on the right, you're left with 8, 9, 10, 3, 4, 5, 60. And then your last step would be to divide by the coefficient. So the coefficient is 10x, so divide by 10. So x equals 6. And again, pause the video and check with substitution. Next equation. So we're starting again with distributive property, distributing that +4 out here. So you've got 4x, distributing +4 over here, plus 20. And then bring down everything you didn't use. So first step was distributive property. Next step is to take care of the variables. So I'm going to move this guy, plus 4x, plus 4x. This zeroes out. 4x plus 4x is 8x. And bring everything down. And then next step is to take care of the constants. So I would move the 20. Bring everything down. And that equals 0. And then last step is to divide by my coefficient. So divide by 8, divide by 8. So x equals 0. Again, pause the video and check with substitution. Next question says, write the linear equation of the line that is represented below. So all that's saying is, what is the y equals mx plus b? Linear equation always equals y equals mx plus b. That's what they're talking about. So that means you have to figure out the m and the b. So we'll start with the y-intercept, which is b. So I look at my y, and I see that my line crosses the y right here at this point. So that's at 1, so b equals 1. And then I figure out my slope. So my slope is just my change in y, so how much it goes up, over change in x, how much it goes over. And so I just count. This is 1, 2, 3. That's my change in y, and then my change in x is 1, 2. So my m is 3 over 2. So then all I need to do to put that into an equation is y equals 3 over 2x plus 1. And that's the linear equation for that line that is graphed. And then it says, is it proportional or is it non-proportional? So this would be non-proportional because it does not go through the origin. Non-proportional does not go through the origin. Proportional does go through the origin. Next question is asking about scientific notation. So when you're doing scientific notation, everything is to the power, or is times 10 to a certain power. Your decimal has to be so that the first term is less than 10, but more than 1. So that would be 2.84. And then I just need to decide, well, how many spaces did it move? So it moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces. So that is my exponent. That's the power that it's raised to. Next question, same thing. My decimal has to go so that the first term is less than 10, but more than 1. So 7.43 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th power. Next one, because it's moving in the opposite direction, it's going to be a negative exponent. So it's times 10 to a negative exponent. Same thing though, my first term has to be less than 10 but more than 1. And then I count how many steps it moved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that would be to the negative 9. If it's giving me the standard notation and it wants me to write it in scientific notation, then I'm moving in the opposite direction. So you can see this example right here, that's a really tiny number. So this one with a negative exponent is going to be a really tiny number. So I've got my 9 and my 6 right here, and my decimal moves 1, 2, 3, 4. So it would go right there. So 0.00096. Next one, it's moving the other direction because that's a positive exponent. So my decimal is moving 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So it would be just 11201. 11,201. And then my last one, my decimal's over here and it's moving 7 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Decimal ends up over here, and I fill in all of those movements with zeros. So I'd be filling in 6 zeros because it moved 1 space over the 1. Simple interest, this should be good and easy because we just worked on this. I equals PRT. Principal times rate times time. Make sure that you change your rate to a decimal. So it'd be 28,000 times 0.10, because first you have to take your 10 divided by 100, and then times 4, and that would give you $11,200. So that would be the simple interest for that. And then the next one, you could change this 3.5% to 3.5%, and then again 3.5 divided by 100. So you're taking your principal, 1,030, times 0.035 times, and you could say either 36 over 12, or you could change that and that equals 3 years. Either way, you get $108.15. Next question, what is the solution to the following systems of linear equations? So they're giving you two equations, so what you need to do is set them equal to each other. So 2/3 x minus 1 equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. And then it's just an equation like we did in the very beginning. So you would solve this equation. There's no distributive property, so you can skip that step. And you start with your variables. So plus 2/3 x plus 2/3 x. That cancels out. 2/3 plus 2/3 is 4/3. Bring everything down. Next step would be to take care of your constants. So I would do plus 1, cancels out. So I come over here. 4/3 x equals 4. And then your last step is to divide by the coefficient. So I would divide by 4/3, and x equals, what did I get? 3. Okay, and again, pause the video and go check with substitution. Let me clear that real quick so I got some space for the next one. Okay, next one, same thing. You're going to set it equal to each other. So negative 7x plus 4 equals negative 7x minus 2. Same thing you've been doing. Take care of your variables first. So plus 7x, that cancels. So that gives you 0x plus 4 equals negative 2. Next, take care of your variables, take care of your constants. Minus 4 cancels out. 0x equals negative 6. But when you divide by 0, you will get error because there is no solution. So go all the way to the end and finish that because you got to make sure that it's a no solution. All right, moving on. Next one is compound interest. Your formula is A equals P parentheses 1 plus R with an exponent of T. So you are going to do the same thing that you've been doing. 3,001 plus 0.05 exponent of 8. And when you solve that, you should get $4,432.37. Finding the volume. So we've got cylinders here. V equals big B H. Anytime you see the big B, they are talking about the base, right? And so in this case, the base is a circle on both of these. So you could highlight the base. And then from there, you look at your formula chart to find the area of a circle. You do pi r squared. You're going to do that first. And then times the height. So you do pi times the radius squared. And then that times the height. So pause the video, solve that. And you should get 50.265, etc., etc., etc. Because it keeps on going and going and going. And that is inches cubed. Next one, same formula. V equals BH, but that big B stands for the area of the base, which in this case is a circle, times the height. So pi times half of this, because this is the diameter, squared, and then times the height. So pause the video, make sure you know how to do that, and then you should get that right there, and that is meters cubed. Find the missing angle. So in every triangle, the angles should add up to 180 degrees. So you would take 69 plus 65 to get 134, and then you subtract that from the total of 180 minus 134, and so the missing angle would be 46 degrees. So B would equal 46 degrees. All right, label the real number system. So let's start with the irrational numbers. Those are the numbers that are not related to anything else. Those are your things like pi and the square root of 2. They just keep going on and on and on with no pattern. Well, they might have a pattern, but they're not repeating. And then on the other side, you have rational numbers. And rational numbers are your fractions, your decimals that end, or your decimals that repeat. So they can go on and on and on forever, but they are repeating. And then next you have integers. Those are things like -2 or -8,000. Okay, those are your positive and negative whole numbers. Next you have whole numbers. And the only thing that makes that different from counting numbers is 0. And then on the inside you have counting numbers, or natural numbers, sometimes they call it. And those are your numbers, everything else that's included. But all of them are part of the rational number set. So if I gave you a number like 4, you could say it's counting, whole, integer, and rational, but it's not irrational. All right, function or not a function. So to test that out on a graph, you're going to do the vertical line test. So if you put a vertical line and it touches more than one spot on the same spot, then it is not a function. Same thing here. If I check my vertical line, it's touching in more than one spot, so that is not a function. On this one, though, doesn't matter where I put my vertical line, it's only touching one spot at a time. So this one is a function. And then on the last one, there's a vertical line. It touches more than one spot, so it is not a function. Remember, if it's not a graph, a function means x does not repeat. All right, identify this graph as linear or nonlinear. So I cannot draw a straight line to show the trend of the data, which makes it non-linear because it does not follow the path of a straight line. Find the distance between the 2 points using the Pythagorean theorem. So I've been given 2 points, and I need to find my diagonal distance. So this would be C. So I build a right triangle. That would be A and B. These are my A and my B, my legs. And then I just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this leg is 6 units long, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And this leg is 4 units long. And then I'd follow my Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 4, B is 6, and I'm looking for C squared. 4 squared is 16, plus 6 squared is 36. Add them together and I get 52. And then the last step is to find the square root of 52, which equals 7.211, etc., because it's an irrational number. It just keeps going on and on and on. All right. Hopefully you feel a little more prepared for the benchmark tomorrow, and good luck.